Hey everyone, it's Dion with Racers 360 today. We're going to be talking about turns 3, 4, and 5 at Sebring International Raceway. So we're on board with Steven here. The car in front of him here is a little bit faster. So what we're going to watch here is one time full speed. We're going to break down why the car is faster in front and how we're going to teach Steven to improve that driving so he can find time through this section. So let's go ahead and play this full speed for right now. So what do you guys think? What did you see out there? For us, it is a combination, but majority reason of early apexes, not allowing him to get back to a significant throttle in between 3, 4, and 5, and then as well, too much maintenance throttle and not manipulating the car weight and the weight transfer of weight to significantly increase his level of grip. So what we're going to do here is turn the volume off. What we want to start highlighting is where he's apexing versus the car in front. So both have good brake zones here. Both have pretty good turning points. Steven's maybe a little bit earlier, but he does apex earlier. You can see the car in front is really apexing exactly where we teach it at Racers 360, the end of this apex curve. But Steven here, notice how he's already apexed. But we said they turned in at almost the same place. Well, how that happens is down to the rate of turning. As you progress as a driver, you really want to focus on turning slower with your hands, allowing the weight transfer to move over, and that's what's going to allow you to roll speed to the apex, and sometimes apex a little bit later as well. So this early apex that Steven has here, the big problem with it is at the exit, he's not able to get back to full throttle because he has too much steering input. Looking very much this direction here, which means he has to really start to turn harder as he comes around this corner, and he can't start to open his hands. Where if he was able to come at a wider, slower angle, he would be able to have an angle that's looking more this direction, which is going to allow the driver to open their hands and then be able to get more significant throttle at that moment. So as we start to go a little bit farther forward, you can see the car in front of us is all the way out to the exit curve and actually is able to have their hands straight for a little bit. Steven has a pretty good job at where he picks up the throttle, but notice here, he's not really able to get straight. He's only getting out to the exit curve way out over here, which means he's already turning back for turn 4. He can't get his hands straight to get the traction for that quick squirt of throttle, which means he's going to arrive into turn 4 slower. The next thing that we're looking at here is if you look down at the throttle in the bottom right, we're not having any bit of a lift. We're kind of just on this maintenance throttle all the way through the corner. And we try to teach maintenance throttle as a thing to avoid as much as possible. If you were to imagine the ultimate level of grip in the car is up here, it's essentially lowering it because you're not manipulating the weight to help you get through the corner, to get that rotation, to get that weight on the front end. You're kind of just stuck with this dull understeer. So through this section back over here, I would have liked to see Steven be more aggressive to throttle until this point, and as he turns back to the right, lift off all the way off the throttle, and then right here, that would give him the rotation he needs to have an easier time pointing it to the right side of the road here, so he would have easier time looking this way because he's got that rotation. And then I would like to see him be then more aggressive to throttle into 5, maybe a little squirt back to 60% throttle versus 20% throttle. All of that means he's overslowed this section, and then that overslowing means he's now going to overslow turn 5 because he can't even brake light enough, which then means he's going to be coasting where the other car can trail brake down, again get that rotation to set things up for the exit. The next big problem, just like turn 3, if you look at the car in front, They have not even apexed yet. They're going to have a really nice late apex, but notice Steven here is apexing about 3 car lengths too early, and again, he's going to have the same problem as turn 3, but it's going to be magnified here because it leads onto a long straightaway. So now he's not able to get back to significant throttle because he has steering input in the car because of that early apex. Notice how the car in front, they have got their hands straight. They're able to get to full throttle before the exit curve, where Steven, he's fighting the throttle, fighting the throttle, fighting the throttle, and he only gets out to full throttle at the exit curve because of that early apex. So what we really want to see is a later apex in turn 3, a later apex in turn 5, and then try to be a little bit more significant throttle into 4, a bigger lift, get off that maintenance throttle, get the car rotated, another squirt of throttle into 5, and then nice, light trail brake all the way around this corner. This is where I want to see him apex. This is where I want to see initial throttle application come and get that exit. If you've heard the phrase, the earlier you get to throttle, the better the exit you're going to have, ignore that. It's wrong because it's not taking into account many other things like minimum corner speed. When are you getting back to full throttle? There's a lot of complications that that phrase does not take into account. So ignore that. Yes, when you get to throttle is important, but at Racers 360, we see the majority of drivers are getting to throttle too early. So the one thing Steve does a pretty good job at here is not getting to throttle until he can start opening his hands. That's what we want to see. But we want to see him have later apexes, trail braking deeper into the corner, and then less maintenance throttle. So that's been our coaching tips at turn 3 through 5 at Sebring International Raceway. We hope you enjoyed it. We hope you'll consider using the coaching services at Racers 360, where you can send in your video or your data, and the best coaches in the business will review your driving and just like this give you personalized coaching tips in a very specific way on how you can go faster. And come join us with the over 150 drivers that we've worked with so far, and we've seen a 100% satisfaction rate, and come join our drivers that are going faster through education. That's been our Racers 360 coaching tip. We'll see you at the track soon.